Welcome back to another episode of Right Here in Mass. Joining me today is Mick Corduff, the new owner of the Log Cabin Delaney House Group, which consists of the Log Cabin, Delaney House, Log Rolling, and D Hotel and Suites. Mick, welcome to the show.
Hello there. How are you? Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you. I know I gave a brief introduction of yourself and what you do, but I'd love if you could share with our listeners everything that you've done, and especially in this new role that you have as owner.
How much time do we have for everything that I've done? Well, I guess to start off, I grew up. I grew up in Ireland in a small rural area that's become very popular, the Dingle area, and a lot of hotel restaurant, a lot of bars and pub scene. As a young kid, I was working in bars and restaurants, and kind of fell in love with the industry. Moved to the States in '89, and I started working for Marriott out of Springfield, and moved up through the ranks in the kitchens there. And then I started my own catering business, probably early '90s, and then was looking to stay local. To go any higher with Marriott, I'd had to move, and I kind of loved Western Mass. It was as close to home as you can get, and what family I had was in the area, and I had a lot of classmates that had moved, and they were in New York and Boston. And when I visited them, I said I just didn't know how they could deal with Boston, the amount of people in New York, and the traffic more than anything, I guess. Yeah, so I guess when I was staying in the area, had my own business, I was either going to blow that up and go big or go home, as they say, or try and find something a little bit more stable. And I was looking at country clubs, and I met Larry and Peter, and got the chef job at the Log Cabin. That was 96, 97. And that was a fun-filled few years, growing that business. Kind of exploded and became the premier banquet facility in Western Mass, and we're very proud of that. And in 2003, we purchased the Delaney House, and that was kind of me diving back into the restaurant scene. Had done primarily banquets at that stage for close to 10 years, and it was a fun twist on everything again. And then recently we've bought Peter out, and I have another partner, is Frank Demarinis is his name. He's on the engineering construction side. So I oversee the operations right now for Log Cabin, Delaney House, Log Rolling, and the D Hotel. But my wife is the manager at the hotel for me, so she's on property all the time, and she has a general manager by the name of Jose Martinez, who's phenomenal over there and been around for years. So, and we just have a couple of managers at the Delaney House that are just coming in as managing partners. So we have a lot of moving parts at the moment, but just building a team around us to make sure that we're able to, stay focused, keep our eye on the ball. So
Yeah. So you have a lot of things on
that's
your
the
plate, it sounds
snapshot.
like.
Yeah. That is the snapshot of what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to hear more about how the opportunity came up for you to become an owner. Like if it was presented to you, and what made you feel like it was the right fit for moving forward and something that would kind of align with what you were looking for.
So when I was, trying to decide whether I was going to stay in the area or, really go out on my own on the catering side of things, I was looking for that ownership side of things. And when I got hired as the chef, I was, 25, so I was pretty young, but I was still looking to own. And part of the agreement was that I'd have an offer to buy in after 5 years. But after 3 years, I pretty much got the opportunity to buy in. And any chance I had to buy more, I was able to buy more. So there was originally three partners, and then when we did Delaney, it was four. Then the other two partners were bought out, back down to two. And last year I bought out Peter, who was my partner pretty much from day one, along with Frank and I. So that's bringing us up to speed as far as today goes. So He's an entrepreneur himself. I don't know if you're familiar with the Roots organization, the athletics, the aquatics, and all that kind of stuff. He's the owner of that, developer of that, and Sage Engineering. He, has built so many properties in the area and beyond that it's hard to list them all off. But most recently, he just did Gary Rome's car wash, that project in Holyoke. So a lot of high end stuff that he's very proud of. So he's excited to take and keep the log cabin and the Delaney House and D Hotel going. And we have some plans. We're currently still working on the hotel, updating everything in the hotel, and probably in January we'll shut down for, I'd say, 10 to 15 days and redo the lobby and all the halls and the breakfast area and all that stuff. And with his crew and his phenomenal team, we'll be able to get it done in a timely fashion. So excited about that.
Yeah, lots of good things coming up. For any of our listeners who might not be familiar with Western Mass, could you give a brief overview of what each of the 4 properties are and what it is that they offer?
Sure. So the Delaney House is a local restaurant known for quality. It's kind of the romantic place to go, the place to have your anniversary, birthdays, big, small. It can cater anywhere from 2 to 200. There's 13 small little dining rooms, and it offers 3 options for dining. It has a beautiful outdoor patio. It has a pub scene, which it's called the Mick, and then the white tablecloth dining room is also the offering. So it's one menu throughout. Focus on quality steaks, high-end seafood, and then it has some comfort food built into some of our popular dishes are the chicken pot pie and stuff like that. But that's the Delaney House, and it also does quite a few events, big and small, and it offers what we think one of the best brunches in the valley. It's won numerous awards for a Sunday brunch. So the hotel is right next door. It has a spa and offering, massages, pedicures, all that good stuff. And there's 60 rooms, full service. It has a small pool, hot tub, and then it offers breakfast every morning. So that's the hotel. And then the log cabin is on the larger side of banquet facilities, hosts corporate events up to 400. And then a lot of weddings on the weekends, anniversaries, that type of thing. There's 2 main ballrooms, and then at the log cabin as well. It's situated on top of the mountain, for those of you that don't know. So gorgeous views of Southampton, East Hampton, and on the backside, Mount Tom here, the Mount Tom Range. So, but there is an outdoor facility. It's a tented facility, beautiful facility, way up on top of the property, and that's known as the Upper Vista. So it's a very diverse business we operate. We also do a lot of catering. Log Rolling is able to do all the above, anywhere from the Cape to Vermont, as far south as New York. We did an air show in New York a couple of years ago, right on the runway in Orange County, New York. So a very diverse business. And we also have a couple of food trucks that go out on the road and do anything from a wedding to a graduation party in your driveway. So a lot of different options.
Yeah. And with having 4 different entities, ultimately, how do you balance them all? Like, how do you oversee managing all of them without feeling like you're stretching yourself thin or feeling any overwhelm or anything like that?
Well, to be quite honest, it's all about the people. One thing that we've always been extremely proud of is our staff, and keeping them well trained, and they're just genuinely good people, hardworking people. We give them the opportunity, and then they grow within the business. I mean, the sous chefs at both places have been around here 15 plus years. The managers underneath them are easily in that 10-year range. The front of the house managers have been around 15, 20 years. So, and their supervisors all grow up from within, and then they're given opportunity, whether it's in catering or other avenues that we do. The Big E, the local fair, We run 3 locations at that. This year, we're going to have 7 or 8 locations.
Oh, wow.
So quite an expansion at the Big E this year. So a lot of them are going to be given lots of different opportunities to step up and kind of given their own project to run. We meet weekly and just divide and conquer. We have a pretty good network within the organization to communicate on a daily basis, whether it's maintenance, needing to change light bulbs, air conditioners, whatever it may be. So again, it's all about the people. It's all about communication. It's all about training. We're constantly working on that, and just to better ourselves.
Absolutely. What would you say is your favorite part about what you do within the group?
Oh, my favorite part. Well, I guess it's just that I'm never doing the same thing ever.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the people. I mean, it's everybody from the guys working on the gardens outside to housekeeping at the hotel to the spa to restaurant servers at night, line cooks. I get to jump in anywhere, and that's kind of one of the nice things about my job. Sure, it's might be a little bit of an office job by day, but today we had a large cabaret lobster bake. Sorry for being late, a few minutes late, but we have 400 seniors out there enjoying a twin lobster lunch, and
Oh, nice.
tonight it'll be filet mignon and whatever at the restaurant. So they're long hours, but it's what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So I guess the diversification of what I do is always kind of really neat. And the people I work with, and the guests that we meet, the brides, the grooms, the families that we deal with, we have such a loyal customer base. I hate to say it, but I've been around long enough now where I'm doing weddings for children of people that were married here not that a few moons ago. So I guess I'm in the second cycle here, which thinking back, I thought would never happen, but it is what it is. And we do weddings, and then I'm doing the baby shower next year and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's really cool to stay in contact and to watch the family feeling. At the end of the day, it might be a big business, but we truly are a family business. We know, everyone's name. You're not a number. And we just try to take care of everybody, whether you're a guest or whether you're an employee that's been around 2 weeks, 2 years, 20 years. We treat everybody the same.
Yeah, I love that. What are some challenges you'd say that you faced throughout your time, especially in your newer role of having more ownership?
Probably one of the biggest changes for me was more on not that I wasn't involved in the numbers side of things, but more on the back end financial side. It was just a little bit of a learning curve, maybe going out to do more of the bids that my other partners used to take care of, whether it be insurance or, payroll software, point of sale software. That side of the business I never really got involved in. And that's probably one of my biggest learning curves. Some of the challenges, I'd say COVID was probably one of the worst challenges we had to face, and maybe not so much COVID itself, but the aftermath. I think there was probably 2 years where restaurants their backs were against the wall, and it was impossible to get staff, and it was a real struggle just to stay alive and to stay out there, and somehow, some way we pulled it off. I feel like, we always say the show must go on around here, and we always pull it off no matter what the circumstances are. I mean, I've done weddings in Vermont under a tree with no water, no power, no nothing, and somehow we feed 200 people a hot meal and everybody's happy with a hot cup of coffee afterwards. So it's a lot of planning. The devil's in the details, and we pride ourselves in delivering the tiniest little details, because those are the ones that really matter. And there are quite a few of them to pull off a wedding or even a steak dinner, so
Yeah,
it's never ending. So,
yeah.
but again,
And
it's the staff, you can't do it all yourself,
mhm,
it all boils down to staff and training and standards and pulling it all together.
absolutely. And that's one thing that came to mind for me as you're talking about that, is that it sounds like you really do have a really extensive and dedicated team who's there to support you and ensure that all of your guests have a great experience as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I spend a lot of time here, but I know that if I can't be around, or if I, take a couple of days off to be with the family, which is a rarity but we try in the summertime, try and take a little break, or in January when it slows down. The business is kind of seasonal. But every single one of them, walk through the businesses like they own it. They have an
Yeah,
ownership stake in it, and they care so much um about what we do, and that just sets us apart in a way. So those people
absolutely.
are hard to find, and when you find them, you want to make sure you try and keep them as best you can.
Yeah, that's a great point. Since you are located within the valley and within Western Mass, what would you say makes that location so great for where your properties and where the entities are located?
Well, Western Mass is the crossroads of New England, as far as I'm concerned. We're right off of 91. Either facility, you get right off 91. You either head up 141 or out Route 5. Both have unique characteristics as far as charm, whether it's the log cabin. We got, 70 windows with a gorgeous view. Delaney House has all the little unique ballrooms on the elegant side, not that the log cabin isn't. Um, but crystal chandeliers versus, kind of, I don't know even how to describe our chandeliers up at the log cabin, but we just had a facelift last year, and everybody's loving it. On the style side of things, again, it's not my specialty, so I reach out and touch the people that the sales office, who's been around here for probably the average is 15 years down there, and they stay up with the trends on weddings and what the brides are looking for. That I feel like is something we're continuously doing. There's always shifts and trends and this and that. Barn weddings are extremely popular. So,
Yeah,
you need to have generators, and you need to have, water barrels and all this stuff just to get into it, certain locations. But again, I think it takes a village to raise a child, and that's kind of how the log cabin works. Any event we do, we meet, we cover all our events, big and small, on a Wednesday, and we spend 3 or 4 hours every week breaking down the tiniest little detail, just to make sure that when we're in your yard, or if it's at the log cabin or Delaney House, wherever the event is, that we make sure the details are on point.
yeah, yeah, which I think is a great thing that, as you mentioned, sets you apart, knowing that you pay such close attention to those details, because as you shared, that's really what matters most. It makes the biggest difference.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And for anyone who's looking to get into the hospitality industry, what's some advice that you would have for them?
Well, the hospitality industry it's one of the best industries in the world. I mean, you meet so many people. Um, it is a hard industry. I think, with some of the pay raises and the minimum wage raises and stuff like that that's happened over the past 5-10 years, I do think people are making a little bit more money
Mm,
comparatively to, when I started out as a kid, it was peanuts. You start as a kid in high school or whatever as a dishwasher, and you were lucky if you made 20-30 bucks or whatever it was. Nowadays we have some dishwashers working here that are making 23, 24, 25 bucks an hour. So just to give an example, and it's the same with the cooks. I mean, the more skilled you are, the more the more you can do. That's great. And I know servers, some of our servers do very, very well. I see them walking out the back door smiling after a shift, and they've done very well. But and again, it's a lot of teamwork.
Yes.
We see a lot of college kids that work here throughout college, whether it's Smith or UMass or HCC. See a lot of kids that are parts of teams that fit right in. So what advice would I give? I mean, the one thing about the industry is you can hop in and out and you can shift around anywhere you want to go. So a lot, some back of the house guys have a tendency to not want to deal face to face with people a lot. But there's always that salesmanship, table side selling capabilities for a server. That is a valuable skill. It's a people skill that you can't learn anywhere, HCC has a good program with a beautiful facility that MGM and HCC just put together downtown Holyoke that is, I think, starting to come back. I think COVID really slammed the door on the culinary industry. Prior to that, everybody was Emeril Lagasse and Bam Bam Bam, and the Food Network was really, we were having a lot of people come into the industry thinking they were going to step right into that management chef role. And, the reality was that no matter how many schools you go to, you have to earn your stripes. And you can, if you're skilled and you're talented and you've gone through the ropes, you'll move very quickly through the systems, but you're not going to walk into any restaurant and just take over,
Right.
Unless you're hired as the chef, let's just say. But I think the beauty of it too is like the diversification, and you can move around, you can be behind the bar. I mean, it's kind of like my role. I shift around everywhere. The managers, even today, they're greeting at the door. Next thing you know, they're behind the bar. Next thing you know, they're running lobsters around like crazy. So it's never a dull moment, and time flies, So it's fun, it's definitely not an office environment. Definitely not an office environment. I mean, you know what they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. The past couple of weeks have been pretty brutal as far as temperature goes in Western Mass.
Yes.
And I think all of New England has been feeling it. So there's some truth to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some things would you say that the Log Cabin and Delaney House Group has coming up in the next year or so? Like any new developments or anything exciting that you can share?
Well, I touched on the Big E expansion. So we took over the Young building at the Big E to do the food service there. So we're opening a Mick Express. It just opened for Hooplandia a couple of weeks ago. So we got some cobwebs we got to work out in the systems over there, and for the Big E and all the fair events, like the hunting fair, the fishing fair, the train fairs, the dog shows. When the Young building is open, that Mick Express will be open for all those events. So I think 30 some odd weeks out of the year that's going to be opened over there, and then during the Big E, it's going to operate 5 other mini locations within the Young building. So that's one big expansion we're doing. We are currently we're looking at other options. There's a lot of ideas. There was ideas of doing a hotel at the Log Cabin. That's kind of gone on the back burner for now. Just the cost of building and whether or not the market could support yet another hotel. We're still working on the analytics of that side of things. I guess growth in catering is always an avenue we're looking at. Super excited about the Big E side of things and working with the Eastern States Exhibition to grow that business. There's an opportunity there to grow larger events, which has kind of become one of our specialties. Events for 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. It's something that not every team can pull off at the drop of a hat. So we have the teams, we have the infrastructure, and we have certain specialty guys on the back end that can handle that type of volume. Aside from Mass Mutual Center, I'm not quite sure who else could do that in this area. We're always excited about Delaney House, and just we change the menu 3 or 4 times a year, and that's always a good thing. The music and the entertainment. We're excited about the patio at the Delaney House, and it's relatively new. It's been a couple of years, but it's still kind of growing. People don't even know that it's really there. And for 2 years after COVID, brunch we had done a la carte, and we started back up the Sunday brunch. So the patio and the brunch are still growing, if you would. So, but they're not back to their pre-COVID numbers, but they're getting there pretty quickly. And I'm not sure. I think there's a very creative bunch around here, so
Yeah.
You never know what kind of surprises. And I know my partner Frank is always looking at other opportunities. I know we've looked at a few other opportunities locally that would support the business and give us more diversification. Similar to what we did, Peter and I, when we were partners. He's still currently doing Delaney's Markets, which is home meal replacement for the most part, and that's going well for him. So
yeah, so lots of exciting things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the hotel getting a facelift in the lobby and those areas. I mean, we would have loved to have had that done at some point in time during the summer, but there isn't a window of opportunity for a shutdown to do it. There's just too many commitments and sold out weekends, and the start stop just doesn't make sense to do a big project like that. So recently we just decided to, as disappointed as my wife may be, that her baby of the hotel is not getting its done sooner rather than later. But January will be here lickety quick. So
yeah,
we're excited. We're super excited for that one. All the plans are really cool, and it's been a while since the hotel got a major investment. So that's exciting stuff.
Yes, and I think between that and, as you shared with the Big E, I mean, it sounds like doubling the number of sites you had previously. That's an incredible achievement.
Yeah, no, super excited about the venture over at the Big E and partnering up with Eastern States. Those guys are really phenomenal people to work with as well. They're a family for sure, and I don't know that people realize the amount of volume of people that I think everybody thinks Big E, and they think September, 2.5 weeks or 3 weekends in September. They are a year-round, 24/7 machine over there, and just being part of Hooplandia a couple of weeks ago and what that does to the Valley or Springfield area in general. The hotel rooms, the restaurant visits. It is just incredible, and I think sometimes flies under the radar. The effort and the contribution to the community. So hats off to them for what they do. I mean, it's not a huge crew over there getting it done either. It's the same guys that put on the Big E. So knowing the amount of detail that goes into just our 2 or 3 locations and now the rest, I can't imagine the amount of detail going into thousands of vendors and organizing everything from the elephants to the to the chickens. It's quite an ordeal. So hats off to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite questions to ask our guests who come on the show is what their favorite local businesses are to support. So what would you say your favorite places are to frequent in the area?
Oh God, I have so many. I mean, I always focus on restaurants that we have I would say a small network of privately owned restaurants in the Valley, right? So there's and it's hard to go and see everybody, but I do try to go and do the rounds. Like Billy Collins does a great job at Center Square Grill. He's a buddy. Jeff at Latitude does a phenomenal job. There's a couple of local guys that just opened up a couple of bodegas in Holyoke. The Spanish influence in Holyoke is thriving. There's quite a few stops and haunts that I stop into. locally, I guess pizza at Pix or a beer at Pix, or over at JP's is another good local guy. Let's see. And then on the farming side of things, I mean, within a 5 mile shot here, you can hit so many different places.
Mhm.
Trying to think of all the names here right now, but names are names are escaping me. I know where they are. It's just a matter of we got Pashitha right out down the road here. I think doing what we can to support the local guy is just a matter of just spreading it out a little bit. We've become very single-minded of a one-stop shop, and that in and of itself is something that convenience has driven us to to get everything in one place, the Costco's of the world and that type
Right.
of thing. And it's not always about price. What you spend, whether it's at Delaney House or Latitude or Glendale Grill, another guy in town, what you spend there stays around here, and
Mhm.
that to me is you can't put a value on that. And tipping your server, they're the ones that are going to be staying around here and spending that money again, whether it's, I don't know, getting ice cream down the street at Nick's Nest, or stopping in for a hot dog with their kid after a ball game or something like that. So do you just, everyone's got to just stop and think for a second and slow down. I think we're all going 1,000 miles an hour all the time, and
Yes.
we have to you know step back. I think COVID did hit the pause button for quite a few guys like myself that were going 1,000 miles an hour all day, every day, and
Mm.
take the time to reflect on what's going on around you, and just see what really matters.
Yeah,
You know,
I love that advice. As we
yeah.
get towards the end of this episode, I've really enjoyed having the opportunity to have you come on, Mick, and share more about yourself and all the exciting things that you're up to. And now I'd love if you could share with our listeners where they can find you online in case they'd like to connect with you and learn more about everything that the Log Cabin and Delaney House Group is doing.
Sure. So if they just logcabin-delaney.com, you'll find us there under that one big umbrella. You'll be able to navigate through there and get messages in there if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking to book a party. You want to make a reservation in the restaurant, you can do it all from there. And if you can't find it, you can always just reach out and give us a buzz, 535-5077 or 532-1800. And I won't give my cell phone number because that could be dangerous.
I don't blame you.
Even though I feel like everybody already has it. But yeah, no, I think the website has everything we offer. And if you can't find it, between the restaurant managers, our hosts and hostesses over there, or our sales team at the Log Cabin, will be able to handle anything you need. So
Awesome.
glad to be here. It's a pleasure, and great chatting with you. Good conversation, and hopefully somebody gets something out of it somewhere.
Absolutely.